What up, everybody? It's the Constitution State here. Today's video comes to us from Grady County Sheriff's Office out of Oklahoma. Today's video is kind of crazy. It shows a lot of what's wrong with policing in America right now. Police shouldn't be going to welfare checks. I feel like medical people that are actually qualified for this stuff should be going to this stuff, because look what happens. They cuff this lady. They don't put her cuffs on right. They throw her in the car. Then they let her be. And something else that's disturbing is they don't even have their guns locked up. Look at what she does. They call it a gun lock button. So she hits the button and it lets the gun out. It's not a gun lock. How does she get her hands on an AR and then open fire on the police? And then yet all police are cleared of wrongdoing. How does that make any sense? The cops are the one that made the situation worse. They're the ones that showed up. They're the ones that introduced guns into the situation. They're the ones that made it so she could get the gun. But yet, no wrongdoing. These are the problems with policing in America. Police aren't held accountable for anything. But we're going to get right into it, guys. Let me know what you guys think.
She slipped her cuffs, then grabbed the deputy's gun and fired.
Jarring and jaw-dropping video just into our newsroom, giving some new insight into Friday's bizarre shooting and standoff.
The woman was reportedly barking like a dog and crawling around on all fours when deputies were originally called, but then things went from bad to worse.
Our own Barry Mangold with the stunning new video. Barry?
Yep. Yeah, Amanda, Carl, the new footage comes from 3 different angles. The body cameras of each deputy that responded that morning and a camera that was inside the vehicle where the suspect slipped out of her handcuffs, grabbed an AR-15 and started shooting. Fair warning to some of our viewers, you may find the footage disturbing. Deputies had her cuffed and in the car. No one saw it coming.
Ow! What was that? Ow!
The Grady County Sheriff's Office says the footage from inside this cruiser shows shooting suspect Rachel Clay slipping out of double-locked handcuffs and reaching past the partition to the front seat.
Our partitions have a small slider where we can get air back to people. She was actually able to reach through there on our console where we keep the gun lock button. She hit it, was able to retrieve a AR-15.
She grabs the gun, points out the backside window, and fires away.
We need backup immediately. Start EMS. Start EMS. We got a civilian. Got a civilian hit. What the heck? She get out of her cuffs?
Before the gunfire, deputies had put Clay in the car thinking she needed medical attention. Ultimately, she was barricaded there for more than 4 hours. Clay was arraigned in court today on 3 felony counts of shooting with intent to kill. The sheriff's office says Clay shot one of the deputies at the scene and the homeowner whom she met the night before. Both have already recovered from their injuries. Barry Mangold, Oklahoma's Own, News 9.
Did you guys hear what this genius said? There's a small partition with a divider. It can't be that small if a whole AR fits through it. What do you need a partition for air for when the back seat's not airtight? And they'll actually come on and preach this stuff like they believe this stuff. I also like how they were found with no wrongdoing. None of the officers involved were in trouble. But clearly somebody did something wrong. They'd like to say, she got out of double-locked handcuffs. She got out of double-locked handcuffs. Well, it doesn't matter because the handcuffs weren't put on right in the first place and she just slipped her hand out of it, as you can see from the body camera footage. So it is the officer's fault. The cop should have been fired for neglecting to do his job right, for putting that person in danger. You always hear there's no situation a cop can't make worse. Seems to be true, because imagine if they had sent an ambulance or medical people to this medical crisis. She was crawling around the yard like a dog barking. They show up, throw her in cuffs, and throw her in the car. Then they're not even smart enough to watch her. They just walk away. This is the body camera footage. And here we can see the handcuff. Doesn't look like the handcuff was opened. It doesn't look like it was moved. It looked like it was put on loose and she slipped it. Did anybody else notice when the shots went off too, how nobody did anything? They all just stood there like chickens with their heads cut off. Nobody ran. Nobody did anything. They actually said, "What was that?" And then afterwards, when the kid's walking out, they're all like, "Come on, you can't tell somebody's shooting." Ah. But they did the same thing. I'd also like to know the relationship between the man and the woman. They said they met the night before. And then the next day, she's at his house and he's calling the cops on her because she's crawling around acting like a dog. Did she sleep over his house? What was the whole situation? Like, I want to know.
She wouldn't even take any water from us or anything. Yeah. Ow! What was that? Oh! Man, Danny, I'm hit right here. I'm hit? Yeah. I'm hit right here too, Danny. Hit in the head. 2615 County, we got shots fired up here. We need backup immediately. Start EMS. Start EMS. We got a civilian. Got a civilian hit. What the heck? Did she get out of her cuffs? No. Did it go in? Stay in. You see her, Danny? You got eyes on? Huh? Shots fired. Get over here. Get over here. Your dad's hit, man. She wouldn't even take water from him. She's been standing out there under the tree all morning. She wouldn't even take any water from us or anything. Ow! What was that? Oh! Man, Danny, I'm hit right here. Yeah.
We're glad you're with us tonight. We are learning so much more about the suspect at the center of Friday's wild story in Grady County.
Yeah, that's where a woman slipped her handcuffs, grabbed a gun, shot 2 people, and barricaded herself inside a deputy's cruiser for hours.
News 9's Brittany Toulis talks to investigators.
The Grady County undersheriff says Rachel Clay and the man they say she shot met the night before, but she didn't start acting different until Friday morning. An interesting morning after an unnotable night out.
Apparently she was out in the front yard barking like a dog and crawling around the ground.
Grady County's undersheriff Gary Bogus says the man Clay met and his son called police. Deputies handcuffed Clay, putting her where everyone wearing the metal bracelets goes, in the back of the squad car. Then she pulled a Houdini.
She struggled probably for 15 or so minutes, and then she was able to slip. They were double locked, but she worked at it.
Reaching through an open sliding partition, left that way to make sure the AC reached her, and grabbed the deputy's AR-15 and fired.
It looked like it hit a tree. It looked like it did a ricochet off the tree and then glanced off and hit my deputy in the back of the neck and then also hit the civilian in the chest.
Court records show Clay pulled the trigger 9 more times. Then the standoff ensued. Undersheriff Bogus says they had trouble getting their TAC team together, OHP stepping in, and negotiations began.
I mean, we had to break the windows out so we could see in there and see what she was doing. She had put paper all over the windows.
After hours of a sniper pointed at the squad and police threatening to use tear gas, Clay surrendered. Both people shot are going to be okay. She was arraigned in court Monday. Police still don't know if just mental illness is to blame.
We think that there might have been some illegal narcotics used, but we're not sure 100%. We're still early in this investigation.
Grady County's undersheriff says both deputies responding to the initial call went by the book and will not be facing any disciplinary actions.
What's everybody think about that? But since they want to grab everybody up and put them in cuffs, they actually made this situation able to happen. But yet she's the only one charged, not the people that allowed her to do it, not the people that put her in the position to do it, not the people that put her handcuffs on wrong, not the people that didn't have their guns locked up, not the people that didn't have their guns loaded in their vehicle ready to go. So it's sad.
Don't new vehicles like that have AC vents in the back? Because I believe they do.
So I don't see why the thing would need to be open where she could reach a gun that all you have to do is press a button to get. It's fully loaded and ready to go. Just doesn't make sense. Even if they didn't have that little thing and there is no vent in the back, the AC is still going to get back there. Those things don't, it's not airtight, dude. It's not a valid excuse for me. No wrongdoing found, but the cuffs weren't put on right. Nobody even checked on her for 15 minutes. He just said it. It took 15 minutes for her to get out of the cuffs. So she sat there and struggled for 15 minutes, and not one of these officers went and checked on her. All this, all those resources, a sniper out there, all because the cops went to a medical call. Oh, it could have been drugs, and I looked, and I couldn't find anywhere that confirmed that. So it's looking just like mental illness. So imagine if a medic went, or an ambulance went. It probably wouldn't have turned out like this because guns wouldn't have been introduced to the situation. It affects their lives, but it affects her life too. Like, yeah, she chose to do it, but if she's not mentally sound, dude, and she just did this as like a nut job thing, it just changed the rest of her life regardless. I don't know, man. Then they get up there and they give us these fake stories every time. This guy lying out of his ass, blah, blah, blah. This is 100% their fault. They came in, they brought the weapons in, they put her in cuffs for a mental health crisis, and then locked her in a vehicle with access to a gun and didn't watch her. I don't think an ambulance would have did that. I don't think a mental health worker would have did that. So we should probably send the qualified people to these calls, because at the end, she's the one that paid more than anybody. These guys, the officer was grazed in the back of the head, and the other guy took it to the chest. This all could have been avoided if the right people went to the call. But let me know what you guys think. I want to know what everybody else has to say, and we can talk about it in the comments, guys.